Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hash Rate. My guest today is CK of Tensorplex. Hello, dude. How you doing?
Doing very well.
Thank you
Great
so
being
much.
here. I hope my
Thank you.
mic is sounding good.
You sound
Money
amazing.
is well spent. Yeah, I bought it just for this because when I think about your podcast, I recognize the mic, so I was like, okay, I need to have my own mic as well, or else I sound very bad.
You sound fantastic. So I'm very happy that you sound great, and I'm very happy that you look great and that you're here and you have a great product, by the way. I love using Backprop. I remember, I don't want to rip on the other guys because, I love the other ones too for various reasons. But the one I go to every day is Tensorplex, right?
Yeah,
Backprop. So I go to
Backprop.finance.
Backprop, Backprop.finance, and I love it because I can, first of all, you got pretty little pictures, right? I can actually see the logos of all the subnets, right? Like their companies. So it sort of
Yep.
looks like Coin Market Cap, right? Some of the
Yeah.
other ones don't even have that, and I don't like that, right? So I can see at a glance like what I'm looking at, right? It's not hard to read. It's the user interface is beautiful.
Yep.
I can see at a glance like if the market is up or down. I can see, it's because subnet 8 like totally took a dive or it went up crazily, right? Like, so I can see all that stuff at a glance. I can't really see it very, very easily on some other ones. So thank you for such a great product. That's the first thing I want to say to you. So
You're very welcome. I'm not sure if I should hope other people are now taking notes on how to improve their product, but no worries. We are always evolving the product, adding new features. We now have the like a built-in wallet option for people if you don't want to bother with downloading a new extension, and we're also working on improving our Telegram bot for people to track what's happening in the market, get some alpha, and maybe even trade. So yeah, we're always working on making Backprop better. And thanks for always showcasing things using Backprop on your podcast.
I do. All the screenshots I do on the show are from Backprop. And actually, I have to say, like, I wasn't using it for active trading for a while because I was just used to the way one of the other sites did it. And then I actually started using Backprop for my actual, to make trades in. And I really love it. I love even the little sound of like the little coins going ding, like
Yeah,
clinking
everyone.
in there.
Yeah, everyone. It's interesting how while we spend a lot of time mostly thinking about how do we make the UI smoother. What is the right image to put in? What is the style? We discussed that a lot. But then most frequently when people tell me they love Backprop, they say, "Wow, the sound is so good." One of the inspirations of the sound was actually. I'm not sure if you use cow swap for the Ethereum trades,
I've
but
not, but I'm aware where you.
they give you the sound of a cow mooing. I think some people love it, some people find it a bit disgusting, but I think it just makes it very memorable when you think about the product. So for Backprop, we try to give you some nice sounds.
Well, I like it because the Bittensor chain. It's a little pokey. Like it's 12. I think it's 12 seconds blocks or something like that.
Right.
So when you do a transaction, it's not like instant, right? Like some of the
Yep.
blockchains are pretty instant. Like Solana is like immediate. This is not. Yep. So I sort of go to another window and check X, and then I hear the little coins go clink in the other window, right? I remember when it first happened, I was like, "What is that?" I was like looking around, like, "What just made that noise?" I don't know what it is. Then it finally clicked. I was like, "Oh, okay, it's Backprop making that." So yeah, so it's great for that. So okay. So let's move along a little bit now. You guys are doing a lot of stuff. So I went to your website. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Backprop, but I know that you guys, you have a Telegram bot, you have a subnet, you're doing something with validators. So where do you want to start? Why don't you just give us sort of an overview of everything you guys are doing?
Yeah, sure. So again, I'm CK, one of the co-founders of Tensorplex, and my co-founder Exponent Crisis is the CTO. So I would say most great things it's due to him, while I'm just here to spread the good word of what we're doing. At Tensorplex, we have Backprop Finance, which is a trading terminal for DTAO alpha tokens. The goal is to make it like both CoinMarketCap and kind of like a Bloomberg for DTAO tokens. Just give you good information and make it very trader centric instead of looking like it's FIBE coded. Not pointing towards anyone. Then it's by default, when you stake or trade using Backprop, the detail is staked to our validator, but you can also choose whatever validator you want. So, Backprop is more built as a way to, I think, grow, make it easier for people to join the ecosystem because, I think good information, good trading experience is needed to improve Bittensor because the reason why we name backprop is it's named after backpropagation, which is the step when you train and improve neural networks. Like backpropagation is basically the step when you're adjusting the weights of a foundational model to make it more accurate. And in the case of Bittensor, when you're trading detail, you're actually contributing to making Bittensor's emissions more accurate, basically ensuring the right subnets they get the right amount of emissions. Like, if you think a subnet is crap, then you're dumping it, so there's less emissions going there. So that's why we named it Backprop.
Yeah. So by trading, I am back propagating to the overall intelligence of the Bittensor network.
Exactly.
It's getting smarter.
Yeah, exactly. Because previously, before detail, a common complaint against Bittensor is that it almost runs in a Soviet system where it is very top down, right? It's like validators, the top validators, they control emissions. But now with detail and with Backprop, which I'm proud to say it's one of the top trading terminals, for people to do backpropagation for Bittensor by trading. You're contributing to the Bittensor network from bottoms up way. So you're not just trading or either making or losing money, but you're also helping decentralized AI every time you trade. So we also have a subnet which is called Tensorplex Dojo. It's subnet 52, and it's actually the default subnet that you see when you click the trade button on Backprop. Yeah. So we put it in your face.
Of course, it's your thing. You gotta plug your stuff. Totally get it. It makes sense. Exactly. Plug your validator. Plug your stuff.
When it starts going up, you'll see.
Yeah.
So it's we're targeting, I think, one of the hard problems in AI and decentralized AI, which is how do you bring human taste and preferences into AI? Because the most objective things in AI, which is like, is the AI model good at doing maths? Like these are the things that you don't really need humans to teach AI, right? Like AI could learn on its own, but as AI agentic systems, or sooner like embodied AI, which basically means robots, they play a bigger role in our lives. You want AI to not only be human ethically aligned, but they understand human taste. Like, for example, right now, like there are a lot of tools that they say they can generate code, generate interfaces, generate website for you. But when you see it, you're like, the devs are lazy. They're vibe coding it. It looks so, it doesn't look good. Or later when AI is writing stories to teach, to teach our kids some moral story, generating movie posters, maybe even generating movie clips. You want to train the taste of these AI, because ultimately AI is here to serve us in every way, and you want them to understand what we like. Like, for example, if in the future when robots are serving you coffee, you want their hand to come at the right speed instead of giving you a visceral, like scary feeling when Tesla Optimus gives you a cup of coffee and it just shoves you in your face. You're like, okay, that's not good. But these are things
you want the robot to understand sort of an aggressive feeling action versus like a butler kind of, would you like some pizza? Kind of, nice and genteel. Yeah.
You want to feel like you're being served by someone in 4 seasons, not by some randos. And like there are a lot of these taste and preferences thing that, we think you want to be able to teach AI. And what Dojo is trying to become is kind of like the Uber for human taste and preferences, because I think, in next 5 to 10 years, the interactions we'll have with AI and the total like economic participation of AI will grow a lot. And, you will always want AI to do things in a way that makes humans feel comfortable. Like if robots are folding things in your home, you also want to teach it, hey, I want you to fold it in a certain way. Or if you're cleaning my home, I want you to clean my tables before you clean the floor, or else it's bad because you're making my table dirty. Like a lot of human preferences stuff that you want to teach AI. And what we do is basically we crowdsource, these preferences on demand using Bittensor network by getting miners that are serving the network again on demand to provide live preferences. So yeah, I'm using a lot of examples, but I hope it better explains
the problem we're trying to solve. Yeah, it would seem to me that like a lot of these preference things that you just described, like the knowledge domain or the task domain, like it's extremely wide, right? Like a robot's motions are one. I don't know. I'm not sure. Colors of things might be another. Blue connotes trust, right? So if you're doing a bank website, you probably want to use the color blue a lot, right? Like that kind of thing. So how do you focus Dojo on one particular vertical, or I guess you don't? I guess it's sort of all over the map. How does that work?
So right now we are focused on coding interfaces, because right now we're in the bootstrapping phase of Dojo, where our focus is how to make sure that, first of all, even during bootstrapping phase, we're collecting useful data. For example, now we've already collected more than 10 million data points, and which is useful because right now, the way Dojo works is that we synthetically generate a lot of interfaces, or I would say applications that people can play with, generating a simulated solar system, and then you can drag the sun and all the planets around. And then, humans would rank, how, out of 4 outputs, how good they are. And because we're in the bootstrapping phase, so our focus is how to identify whether the miners are doing good work. So out of the 4 options they have, I would say 2 are good options and 2 are bad options. We know because we intentionally altered the prompt we give the AI. We know that 2 options that must be bad. So if the miners are telling us, hey, these 2 options are very good, then we know, dude, you're not paying attention. And then
got it. So the miners. Sorry, I just want to understand something. So the miners are humans.
Yep.
So they're sort of like mechanical Turks, right?
Exactly. So they are. I would say they are meant to be humans. Of course, people try to automate it, which we're fine with it. It's more about whether at the end you're able to deliver human preferences. Because I think, going forward, when AI or people that train the AI, they ask Dojo for help, there would still be tasks that are simpler that you can automate with AI, and we're fine with it as long as there is quality oversight, which we think ultimately needs humans. But I would say it's so right now it's semi-automated. Sometimes for some tasks where we're butchering the output too hard with the prompt, then if AI can tell, then it's fine. But we just need the quality control in place. So out of the 4 outputs, there are 2 that are butchered outputs, and there are 2 better outputs. And what we care about is gathering the human preference on for the better outputs, which one is better. And one of the recent features that we shipped is to get rich human feedback, which means instead of just the miner telling us, hey, this interface looks better than that interface, we also ask them why. And they need to, give feedback on specifically why. And the good thing with doing this is it also makes it easier for us to catch whether the miners are doing real serious work, which I would say bodes well for us to expand to other modalities. By modalities, it means that we can collect feedback for again, robotics or other type of agentic systems that people are building. What we're doing imminently is, which I think you is subnet composability. We're going to improve the validation mechanism of subnets, including 404gen, which is the 3D generation subnet, as well as the score subnet. So basically, those tasks is more of helping them with again like catching with when there are like bugs and or the AI is not identifying the football at the right place. Maybe it's actually not the football; it's the head of one of the players. Or for 3D generation, you can again augment the validator when we can also help catch, hey, this cabbage that's generated doesn't look quite like a cabbage. The texture is not right. Like these are the things that our human contributors can help, and this again is improving, I would say, the output of all of the Bittensor subnets. So actually, the very original reason why we wanted to build Dojo is also because the team before we started Tensorplex, the engineers, they were just mining TAO, and then what they learned was that before there are like these external feedback coming in, the miners, they're incentivized to play the game by trying to guess what the validators are looking for instead of trying to optimize for the best output possible. Because like validator, they can only validate based on what was programmed to be the right way to validate. But then ultimately the human eye is the most intuitive, right? Like you can teach AI how to identify a dog, and you may need to tell AI these 100 ways to identify whether it's a dog or a cat. But for humans, when you're just 5 years old, you look at a dog and you know it's a dog. So basically, it's way easier to just get humans to help to provide this type of like feedback.
Well, I would actually say the fact that you guys are doing this Dojo sort of human preference web subnet makes a lot of sense to me, because out of all of the user interfaces that we currently have to Bittensor, yours is the most human. And I think it reflects sort of the, I think too few people in crypto, but also in Bittensor specifically, focus on consumer level UIs. And, which is, I'm older, so I come from like an older iteration of the Matrix, where like every click and every pixel on a screen was debated ad infinitum. And it was very painful, but it also resulted in a much better product, and one which, could 10x or 50x or 100x the revenue that a particular site was making, right? Just based on, colors and button positions and phrasings and things like that, right? So, so obsessing over that stuff in great detail is time well spent. And I feel like you guys have the vibe of that better than anyone else actually at the moment in the Bittensor ecosystem. So it does not surprise me that these two things sort of seem like, two heads of the same beast, if you will, right? So, okay, so let's talk. Do you want to show us some stuff?
For the show and tell, I just want to quickly, give people a sense of like how Dojo works on a visual manner and the need for human feedback. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I think what I want to do is like debunk some of the the common like questions that people ask. In case any of the audience would want to ask. Like I think a very common question that people ask is why do you need human feedback when AI is getting so much better and like they can just learn on its own. So right now, actually, the way it works is that we can definitely use better AI to teach worse AI. Like you can use the most advanced version of ChatGPT to teach the older version of ChatGPT or just smaller models in general. This is basically model distillation. But when it comes to improving the frontier models, you need human feedback because, or else, if you're just using the best AI to teach themselves, what you're doing is quite similar to if you do photocopying, right? If you photocopy the same image 10 times, it looks very bad.
Copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. Yeah,
exactly. Or if you're using like a human example, if an artist only learns how to draw better by checking their own previous arts, then you're not learning anything, basically. So, that's why, you need human validation. So what I'm trying to say is basically, in addition to the fact that human taste is important, actually, if you want to push frontier AI forward when it comes to improving the outputs, you need human feedback. And if we look at OpenAI compared to like Gemini, like for me, I always test all the AI models out there because, when I have questions, I want to have the very best answer possible. And it's interesting to me how, despite, a lot of different AI systems would say, hey, now we achieve a higher benchmark score than, ChatGPT o3 as example. When you use it, you can still feel there's some magic in, I think OpenAI's models just understand humans better. It gives you a more, I would say, higher EQ output, or like it just gets it. And these are the things that you need human feedback to teach, instead of just using things that are objective. Because maybe objectively at like the most difficult mathematics, maybe Grok 4 is better. But the reason why you need human feedback is because, if you learn from human feedback on what is a better output, it leads to more humane, like more genuine AI. And I think that's why OpenAI is leading as a leading consumer AI product. And this is it's a chart showing how Dojo works, which is basically subnets will be sharing with us the outputs that the subnets are generating, and then our miners are going to provide valuable feedback on what is a better output and what's the reason. And then not only does it improve the validation of the subnets, we can catch a certain miner actually doing a bad job despite they fit all the preset criteria of the existing validators. But also the miners can incorporate the feedback that we provide, and they could improve their output for the future. So basically, not only we're making the rewards more accurate, which incentivizes better output, but we're also giving precise feedback so they can improve their output. And this leads to, I think, better quality output of the entire Bittensor network in general, as we work with more subnets to incorporate Dojo feedback.
Okay, so if I'm a miner, sorry, just want to go back to the miner thing for a second. Yep. So I'm a miner. Do I get something, a user interface that looks kind of like a quiz, where it's
right?
Which one of these things is the dog, right? Almost like a Turing test.
Yep. Let me try to find it. So, okay, this is the rich human feedback. Let me see. Do I have a screenshot here? Okay, I don't have a screenshot for the easiest tasks, but I have a screenshot for
a difficult one.
So, right now, the latest version of Dojo with the most advanced type of human feedback, what miners do is basically, as you can see here, there is this interface interactive visualization that's generated, and then what the human miners can do is you can play with the interface, and then you can tell them how accurate the prompt is, and give some feedback. Or in this case of the image of a dog, right? You can say, hey, what's wrong? What's good about this? And then this these type of feedback again not only improves the validation of the image generation subnet as example, but also the miners of those other subnets can train their model using these feedback. And of course, right now, Dojo is still quite early. That's why what we want to do is also to showcase the power of it. So one of the things we did is we trained, I would say, the world's most advanced 7 billion parameter interface generation model. Basically, we fine-tuned the Quen model, the open source 7 billion model by Alibaba, and we made it a lot better. If you're asking for interactive visualization of adolescence, interesting. If you ask for this, if you get the Quen model to do it, it looks like this, which is clearly not ideal. In the middle, it is the version when it's trained with not even human preference. It's just with the data sets that we are generating with the synthetic code generation pipeline that we built. So this is just with the synthetic data that is generated by our pipeline using better models. We're using better models to teach a smaller 7 billion model, and it's already, I would say, a lot better. But it still looks, I don't know, it looks a bit retro. The color doesn't feel right. Again, human taste, I can't explain. Then this one on the rightmost is the version where we use the human feedback collected by Dojo to train the model. And you could see it's like a night and day difference versus the original. Like I would say it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks, I'm not sure if it's romantic or whatever, but it looks better.
It's not hard to look at. It's pretty easy to look at. It's not hard in the eyes the way the middle one is. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
I think this is like a proof that like how using human feedback is useful and how a decentralized system collecting human feedback actually works. And trust me, it's not easy because, one of the challenges of building a Bittensor subnet is that it's basically a decentralized, or it's like a public bounty contest. And, there are a lot of bounty to be made by automating or trying to kind of figure out how to automate, the miner, or just giving you the task in the lowest cost manner. So, it's like always fighting a battle. So we're quite proud to showcase how, the system is working when it comes to gathering useful data to train models. And, these are the eval data. And, the conclusion is basically it works. that's
so
visual demo.
Now you guys also released a Telegram bot, right? So why don't you tell me a little bit about that? Why are you doing that? What does that do? You have the floor.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that we learned, the answer is not really intuitive to me why, but people love trading using their Telegram app and just have everything done in one click instead of going to the wallet app or just going to browser, clicking 10 buttons. So we want to make it as easy and as quick as possible for people to trade. And that's why we built the Telegram app for people to get notifications or just to check prices, right, on what's happening in Bittensor ecosystem. Are there some big whales that did some trades? And also they can trade, using the Telegram app. And I'm quite proud to say it's built to be non-custodial. So, basically it's your keys and it's your TAO.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. So Telegram wallet. So basically people just speak in a Telegram chat room. For those people, some people watching this don't know about this, right? So, and I've seen other people do sort of similar Telegram bots where the wallet is somehow baked into the Telegram bot, and you're basically on a command line chatting, and you can actually do crypto trades. You can buy, you can sell, you can custody your coins. You can be like, okay, what coins are in my wallet? And they'll go, blah, 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 there you go. What's the price of ETH or whatever it is? And so you've basically done a version of this for the Bittensor universe, TAO and subnet tokens, and using a Bittensor wallet, right? And it's fully functional, and I assume it uses Backprop for trading.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's like the Backprop Telegram app, and you can have access to it just by going to backprop.finance and then just clicking bot, and then you can see all the offerings that we have. So the goal there is to make it easier for people to not just enter the system but also participate, because I know that one of the I would say the complaints is that it's not easy to get access to trading detail, because you need a separate wallet, and it's not the easiest to understand and stuff. So we do all we can to bring more people into the ecosystem, because I think there's something beautiful about Bittensor, which is it's actually a bottoms up approach to decentralized AI. And I think that's the right approach, basically. And that's actually why initially, I think it's the right way to build decentralized AI, because outside Bittensor previously, when I was wearing my investor hat to look at decentralized AI, I think a lot of systems they're built in a very top-down manner. When probably the founder, the founding team, they decided, okay, this is the right approach to decentralized AI, and this is what we're going to focus on. Or for Bittensor, with subnets, it's very profound. It's basically, it's similar to Bitcoin, but instead of the product of Bitcoin being a ledger, right? For Bittensor, the product is basically useful AI services, and the type of services would be defined by the subnet builders as well as now with detail the market participants, and they would be validated. This product will be validated by the validators. So like I think there's something very beautiful about this being like a programmable and market reacting version of like AI version of Bitcoin, and I think this is just a beautiful way to do it. So
yeah, I love it. Once again, it shows your sensitivity to the user. You're meeting the user where the user is.
Exactly.
Not trying to dictate to the user, this is how you should use my thing, right?
Yep.
So it's again, the human touch seems to be your superpower. And I really love that because I don't see enough of that. And I'm really grateful that you exist because I think that you're bringing an awful lot that's very sorely needed to this ecosystem, but also to crypto in general. So thank you for that. Let me ask you a question just about trading in general, because I'm very curious about this. So I know that MEV bots in the Bittensor ecosystem were a big problem when DTAO first launched, but it seems to have calmed down or gone away. Do you know what happened with that? What happened and where are we now?
I think good question. I know the problem is kind of solved. I forgot how exactly. I saw some discussions between our devs and with OTF people. I think it's a combination of, I'm not sure if they improved on the block time or whatever, but I think the situation has improved, and it also helps that I think the speculative the degenerate spirit have kind of tamed down over time with especially when the root yield was too damn high. Now it's still quite high, but less so. Yeah,
I love that you repeated my little catchphrase. The root is too damn high. So well done.
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the things I think quite a lot about. Because I love novel stuff. And detail is very novel. It's like a very new ecosystem doing something that's not done before. So I, of course, I had my skepticism initially when it's like the design is wrong, and when you see the subnet token prices going down, then you're thinking that there's something go wrong. I think now my take is that I think that it's designed with a very long-termist view. To be honest, basically detail now is actively punishing people that try to speculate for a short-term flip, because I would say it's kind of like, how to put it, it's kind of like how Ethereum did go from 4K to 1.5 1.66K in the past year, right? It was very painful. Of course, you could argue, did it really change the long-term fundamentals, or did it give the believers a better entry price? I mean, you could say if you're a hyper bull in long-term fundamentals of Ethereum, etc., then you got a very good deal. So I would say DTAO, it is if you do believe that in the long-term markets are efficient and you believe where the direction the ecosystem is going, then you're getting a pretty good deal as the price now compresses towards the subnet token market cap is going close and close towards 1 TAO. So I think that's the framework I'll look at it.
I mean,
it's not conclusive. We
were talking a little bit before the show, and as you noted, you got into crypto in 2017. I've been here since 2013, which is, in my view, you're pretty close to where the same as me in most respects. But like me, you've suffered many 90-95% drawdowns, right? Especially with me in Ethereum. I think I got my Ethereum in 2016 or so, and it was a couple dollars, and then it went up to $12, and then it went back down to a couple dollars again, right? That's an 85% drawdown, right? And did you really give a shit if you bought it $2 or $12, given the fact that it went up to $4,500? I mean, you missed some multiples, but really you didn't care that much, right? You didn't you didn't miss out on the bulk of the value creation. So I think we're in that, and I think you're correct that we are in a very similar moment right now with DTAO. And to be honest with you, these fluctuations, they're nothing compared to things we've experienced in the past. I'm watching everyone cry on X, and I'm like, what's wrong? You babies, you weren't here for what Bitcoin or Ethereum or some of these other things really, were a lot wilder, a lot earlier than this. This is absolutely nothing. So Yeah.
Yeah, I think like always zoom out is a way to to think about it. I think one of the most useful, memorable advice I got in my career, like basically, I've been investing in crypto many years. For my formal career, the first job I got was actually in traditional finance. And then when I was like being anxious about things, I'm very junior, there are a lot of things I don't know and stuff. And then one of the directors told me, look, just always zoom out. When you when you zoom out, you just get a lot more clarity.
Yeah.
So like for Bittensor, the zoom out view is basically, well, if this is successful, how much do you think it's worth, right? If Bittensor is successful, I think it's worth like, let's say hundreds of billions of dollars, because number one decentralized AI network in the world is probably worth a lot of money. And right now the market is not giving you like a very high probability of success, right? It's now like below 10 billion valuation, which means the market is saying, hey, there's maybe like a 90% chance this doesn't work out. So it means that first, maybe there are a lot of challenges that need to be solved before Bittensor gets to like where we think it could be in a few years. But also, that's the odds that you're getting. So yeah, and also I do want to share a bit of the advice I shared, because previously at Paris, we were at Proof of Talk, which is a crypto event that we kind of hijacked as a Bittensor gang, and we're just and it's interesting how whenever there's a Bittensor panel, because they alter between like crypto panels, stablecoin panels, and Bittensor panel, and then whenever it's a Bittensor time, and then you can see all the crowd just flock over, to
I saw the pictures.
Yeah, like it's a very it's a very special feeling. And then I joined the panel on investing in Bittensor, and what I shared is basically you do want to keep a healthy stack of TAO that's not deployed in detail yet, just to give yourself some room if you want to deploy later on, or when the prices maybe gets more favorable. And then you would want to deploy some TAO just in the top subnets as a basket if you think the winners would keep winning. And then you can also invest in some you think like interesting but earlier subnets. I would say maybe like Dojo, because we're tackling something very hard, which means there are a lot of improvements to subnets that we constantly need to make. So these are harder problems to solve, and higher upside but higher risk as well. And you want to deploy some into subnets like these, because it's always fun to aim for moonshots. So that's just some what I shared on stage, and I hope that
not investment advice.
Oh, never investment advice. Yeah,
just to market it.
If you listen to me, there's a very high chance that you lose money. Yeah, so
it's CK.
Make your own decision.
CK's opinion. So what CK is doing is not investment advice.
Yeah.
So let me ask you two really pointed questions about your subnet. Yep. So first one is, who do you sell? Does your subnet produce a sellable service? Does it make revenue? And if so, how much roughly? And who are the people you sell it to? The services.
Okay. So right now we are pre-revenue.
Yeah,
and I would say pre-revenue is the most bullish phase, because you can imagine things. And well, right now what we're doing is basically, there are multiple steps to it. Initially, what we do is we incorporate Dojo's output to other Bittensor subnets. So you can say other subnets are our initial clients, because this helps us to prove that the subnet works to people that understand what we're doing the best, because they also build subnets. And we can use the results of this to explain it better to other potential clients. And also, me and my co-founder, we're always speaking, to other AI startups, or even corporates, to understand better the needs for them on the data side. Because while Dojo can give you, very powerful things like human taste, which is very valuable, it can also do easier tasks when it comes to data. And that's why we're speaking of robotics companies, training the brains of robots, and also academic institutions that we could speak to better understand the problems and see how we can use Dojo to solve those problems. Oftentimes, when it comes to serving clients outside the Bittensor ecosystem, you do need to build a more customized pipeline for them, instead of just saying, "Hey, this is a subnet, this is an API, you can use it." Well, it's not that easy. You need to you need to help them more, so it's more hands-on, and that's the initial approach we'll take, and then we generate revenue.
Got
But
it.
right now it's pre-revenue, so the sky is the limit.
So let me repeat back what I think I heard, and you can tell me whether I got it right. So
Yep.
you to build Dojo, you've
Yep.
basically built like this quiz and answer system, which somehow somebody has to load the content into that. And but you've built this network of, I don't know if it's 256 miners, but 256 ish people, humans who are willing to take these tests, which have the effect of training an AI.
Oh, just to note, each miner can have many humans behind them. Like they can distribute the API keys. So we have like thousands of miners, and we can expand it. Basically, right now what we're seeing is that the miners are kind of, I would say, institutionalizing the whole thing. Like they in Asia, they're hiring students, to basically mine for them by providing these feedback and labeling services. So right now we're seeing basically one miner, they can have like a team of dozens of people, and they distribute the keys to them. So we are providing valuable jobs to people in developing countries. Wow, it sounds like I'm a philanthropist.
No, that's great. Okay, so basically, so you got thousands of miners, thousands of humans who are willing to contribute like human brain to like your quizzes. I'm calling them quizzes. I don't know if it's exactly the right word, but let's just go with it for now.
I think it's kind of right, because right now what they're doing are quizzes, because we right now we're using our synthetic code generation pipeline to give them tasks, and we partially know the answer to them. Like we know there are two good ones and two bad ones, and but which one is which out of the two good ones, which one is better? Well, it could be subjective, but we know there are two ones that are clearly bad. So you better not be telling us that the bad ones are the good ones. Right now you can say it's in the quiz era, right? Because you need to find a way to determine whether people are real people. But then what we're working on is basically, we'll start with, again, getting the output of other Bittensor subnets into a system. So in addition to generating feedback on coding, we are also generating feedback that helps the broader Bittensor ecosystem. And we are working with companies and institutions on seeing how we can get the Dojo pipeline into what they're doing and improve their models. So
let me finish. So you got this like thing built, right? Like a workforce and sort of a workflow system that integrates with Bittensor. So that is what you're selling to third-party clients. You're like, look, I got lots of human brains and a workflow system all set up and ready to go. And on top of that, it's subsidized by the Bittensor TAO / subnet tokens that come out of my subnet. So we can give you a much reduced price from what you might pay another firm. And that's how you compete and win in that universe. That's pretty cool. Okay. I buy that. I like that. Okay. So let's talk about like, how long have you guys been doing this? How long have you been around? And I noticed that you have some pretty interesting backers. You got DCG, you got Accomplice, and you have Mechanism. How much have you raised from those people? If you've announced that, and when was that? How long you been at this?
So in total, we raised more than $3 million early last year, and we try our best to make what we're doing sustainable instead of just burning other people's money. So I'm glad that with Backprop, with our validator as well, like we earn enough TAO that can cover expenses, so we can just focus on like growing the pie. I think I feel very privileged that like we managed to get the backing of a lot of very good investors who gave us good advice, and they have good connections that they can bring us to. So it makes it easier for us both in the brainstorming phase and when it comes to getting potential clients. And I think we are one of the, I would say, few Bittensor teams that manage to get funding from non-Bittensor focused investors. And I hope more teams can do it as well, because while it's always easier to speak to people that are already deep in the weeds of Bittensor, you want you want more outside perspective because they would ask you some more refreshing questions and challenge some of your assumptions, which is very good. So
Yeah, no, totally agree. So I mean, Accomplice and DCG. Are you a Yuma company? Would you be considered that, or is
So
that sort of pre-Yuma?
we're not a Yuma company because we're in the pre-Yuma era, and like we launched our subnet before, I think, before they start doing incubation. But we have a very good relationship with them. Evan from Yuma is very nice, and I had
Evan was just on the last show, so
yeah,
so
yeah,
I
I
know
saw.
Evan pretty well.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Barry's very supportive as well. Like I remember what I heard is that recently Barry did go to Paris for proof of talk as well, and I think this is like his first appearance in an outside conference like for years. So I think I like how DCG is all in because it's a very good sign. I know they're all in Bitcoin in what 2012, 2013. So
Yes.
it's good seeing them, saying, "Hey, let's start this." Like, in fact, I was there when during the last DCG summit they were announcing who is going to lead Yuma. It's quite funny. They're like, "Okay, Evan is the CRO, so for the CEO, let's welcome," and then it's very very similar coming up. So, but yeah, it's I think it's it's good having a heavyweight that knows how to speak to institutions to explain what we're doing because Bittensor is very hard to explain. And
It's really hard to explain. Trust me,
yeah,
I've been.
I'm very lucky to have you also helping explain. Like you give very very good analogies. So yeah, and I mean it. Despite of course I'm on your podcast, I'm going to be positive, but I really mean it. You explain things using very good analogies, and
Well, thank you.
thanks
That
so
means a lot
much.
coming from you. So thank you very much. I do appreciate that. And I will endeavor. I'm going to be doing a lot more explaining over the next 6 months to a year at the very least. Because as I've said previously, I'm putting together a hedge fund with some interesting folks. So which I haven't announced it yet. I'm just sort of announcing the coming
Pre-announcement, right?
the announcement of the announcement. I know it's a little
Perfect.
vague and cryptic, but no, just know that I'm spending my days working on getting that thing put together. So hopefully within the next few weeks we'll be able to sort of unveil exactly what we're doing and who's involved and what it means and all that stuff. But it definitely means I'm explaining Bittensor to a lot of new people that have never heard of it before, and doing a lot of those conversations. So let me ask you another question about your subnet or just sort of subnets in general. There's been a lot of controversy lately about minor emissions and subnets that burn minor emissions, partly because a lot of some miners and some subnets spent money getting up and running, anticipating that they would be able to win, X amount of the emissions rewards from that subnet, and only to wake up one morning and find the validators are like, no, we're going to burn half the tokens. So you're going to get everybody's going to get half of whatever they would have gotten before, which is really infuriated some people. And somebody put out a list, and apparently there's about 30 subnets of the 128 that are now burning emissions in one way or another, with some surprising ones on there. Do you guys burn emissions, and what do you think about this whole controversy?
So I think we haven't really do it so far. I think my take on it is you want to be very predictable when you. Okay, so I don't want to comment on specific subnets, of course.
Of course,
but I think what I learned about systems design is that you want to be very predictable and you want to be trustworthy. I think using United States as an example, like why the US became this place which attracts talents from all over the world, right? Not just because of the military might, right? But it's also because people think it's predictable. You know what's going to happen. You know your rights are protected. So while I do think that it will be good in Bittensor for the subnet owners to be given more flexibility because different subnets they have different requirements or expectations from the miners and validators. So I think a fixed mix, it's just not flexible enough. And in crypto, we love flexibility. I think it will be better for subnet owners to just communicate more clearly in advance instead of like, as you said, in the middle of like miners having deployed like capital, attention, time, to mining the subnet. Then you change the rules arbitrarily. That's the way I'll put it because what I think one of the unique things about miners in Bittensor is that they're essentially your team. Like it's like if you start a company, like in traditional sense, the people that are working are the employees. In the case of Bittensor subnet, like you're literally just setting rules, and then for a decentralized group of like employees or the contributors to work for you. So like you want to respect them, or else there's no way you can have a like long-term successful subnets, because people won't be incentivized to to focus on making the outputs better and better. And you don't want them to dump your tokens as well, right? Because they get a fair amount of your tokens anyway.
Yeah, I mean, look, you bring up a very important point, and I would agree that is actually the same thing that powers Bitcoin, right? Like it's incredibly predictable. It's locked, the rules are locked in stone, right? More or less.
Yep.
I mean, not more or less, they are locked in stone, right? We know when the halvings are, we know like what the block rewards are very predictably.
Yep.
So, if I spend a lot of money setting up a Bitcoin mining rig farm, I know that Bitcoin can't just come along, tomorrow, wake up and be like, oh, guess what? We just had a halving while you were all sleeping last night, and now everybody's getting half, right? Like that can't happen. So
I think one of the critiques of Ethereum, like last few years, like especially because I also read Chinese, right? And the Chinese miners are very angry about like Ethereum's like transition to proof of stake, just because they feel like, hey, we thought there are rules and we invested a lot into it, and you're changing the rules, and does it make it like less good as a store value? I mean, it's a debate, and there's still people that are saying, hey, the reason why ETH did very poorly in the last few years against Bitcoin is because you changed the mechanism. I can't say for sure, like, is that the reason, or like, what do you want to say is the reason? But I do think, there are probably quite a lot of miners that have a lot of ETH that feel that they're not being fairly treated, not being respected, just being seen as just a passive contributor that's like disposable. And then, hey, maybe they saw a lot of their ETH, and that's why ETH BTC chart looked quite bad for the longest time, right? So I would say, this is also an example I'll give to other subnet owners. Like basically, be very careful with the changes and the potential second order effects. Yeah,
got it. Okay, well, CK, I actually have another recording coming up here in 2 minutes, so I have to. We're a little under an hour, so I have to cut it a little bit short. So I apologize for that. But is there anything you want to plug before we go?
Well, I would tell everyone that if you're interested in what we're doing, follow us on Twitter, or they call it X nowadays. Come to Discord, and if you think there's some ways we can work together, let us know. We're at Tensorplex Labs and at Backprop Finance.
Backprop.finance. That's the site. So I love it. I use it, and you should too. So, all right, CK. Thank you, dude. My name is Mark Jeffrey. We'll see you all next time.